What's up, y'all? Quick video while I'm waiting for my first class to start. This is for all the Christian men out there who are in the season of singleness, which is me too. So I'm in the thick of it with all y'all. I'll address something that excuse me. Man, that's the devil get you. I was not coughing until I started this video. This is how the church be tricking people, and I'm not saying it's intentional, but church/religious people, right? When it comes to single men in this day and age waiting for a wife, man, this thing is shaky. Okay. One point the first thing out to a lot of y'all. Y'all notice especially pastors and stuff, they're usually married. It's generally not single people who are pushing this, more so fell into it, but it's usually, again, I'm not saying it's intentional, but it's usually pastors and the leaders of the church who are already married. That's telling seeing people, just wait on God, pursue your purpose, and just wait on God. Okay. I don't have a problem with the first part. It's the second part that I have a strong problem with, because that is a huge misconception that can be explained directly in the Bible. Guess where? In Genesis. Why just waiting on God is incorrect. That's incorrect. We have misinterpreted with the whole Adam and Eve being brought to Adam. We are completely misinterpreting that. And I'm gonna start pushing that in the churches if I need to do it myself, because we are leading single people astray. That is not what the book says. That's not even what it implies. But getting back to these pastors and leaders, it's interesting because there's a church that I've been going to. Even the pastor himself, right? There's a senior pastor, a male and a woman, right? Both are senior pastors or head pastors at that church. And during one of our men's meetings, the guy, he was telling us a story about how he met the first woman, right, the pastor. He even said himself, mind you, and he pursued her and I'm not exposing him because he wouldn't be afraid to say this, and this is not about exposing him, because if anything, it's relatable what he's saying. He was in a space where he was even double-minded himself. He was living two different lives, right? He was lukewarm. But when he saw her, that made him drop everything he was doing, all the fickleness. It made him drop it, and he was inspired by her and pursued her. Mind you, he was playing in the church, right? Playing at the church, playing on the keys, still does, right? But playing on the keys, living a double-minded life, but saw her, and that completely made him change his act. Now, that's one story in a billion. You have the stories of guys who were focused on their purpose, right? And I'm not saying he wasn't, but he obviously was playing on the keys, so he was in the church, he was in ministry, right? But tying that to the Adam and Eve story. See, Adam could have done well by himself, I'm sure, for a while. But one of the points of bringing Eve into the picture, right, fashioning Eve for Adam specifically, is for a few reasons. One, that Adam needed help. The Lord said in verse 18, I'm in Genesis 2, verse 18, the Lord said, it's not good for a man to be alone. See, we get to that part. We understand that. But then we skip over all this part, right? This next chapter or the paragraph where it's saying now, God put Adam in the garden. He started naming the fish in the sea, right? That was his work. That was his purpose, right? He said, I will make a helper fit for him. Now, out of the ground, the Lord formed every beast of the field, every bird in the heavens, right? And brought them to the man. And he started naming them one by one, right? But for Adam, now this is the key. This is the highlight that people jump over all the time. This verse right here, verse 20. The man gave names to all the livestock, to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found. Again, man, all this fun for no reason. Excuse me, y'all. I didn't have none of this phlegm 2 seconds ago. Excuse me. Well, for Adam, there was not found a helper fit for him. That's how the devil won't work, though. I'm telling you, it'll clog my throat. I'm trying to get this key information out, because this is how religion and church. And again, when I say church, I'm gonna say people who are not led by Christ, but people who use church for money reasons, to stack the bread, right? This is how the devil has fooled people for so long. It says, but for Adam, there was not found a helper fit for him. There was not found. It didn't say Adam was chilling and, God just put him to sleep. Right? Because verse 21 says the Lord caused Adam into a deep sleep, and then he created Eve from the rib. It didn't say, Adam was chilling, minding his business, and then God put him to sleep. No, first, let me back up even further so you understand the priority here. God had put Adam into the Garden of Eden. Verse 16, and the Lord commanded the man, saying, You may surely eat from the tree, but from the tree of knowledge, from every tree of the garden, but from the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, or you surely die, right? So God puts Adam into the garden, so we understand priority. He first then established law. He gave Adam law. See, Adam being the first, he didn't have to seek out God because God created Adam himself. He was already connected to God. But the first thing God gave Adam was law. He had to uphold law. That was first. Second, God gave Adam purpose, was to name the fish and the birds and all the creatures and tend to the garden. That was his purpose. So law, purpose. Then Adam and God couldn't find any helper fit for him. It means they were looking for a helper. Because God had established it's not good for man to be alone. It said, I will make a helper fit for him. Now, out of the garden, the Lord God had formed every beast of the field, every bird of the heavens. Right? So he started naming things. Right? He was already given the garden. Now he's giving other words to start naming the creatures. Right? Because man was supposed to have dominion over all the creatures of the earth. Right? So, law, then purpose, then Adam needed a helper. But for Adam, there was not found. That means they had to be searching to find. Seek and ye shall find. What the church does is tell men, follow Christ, find purpose, and then God would just bring you an Eve. That's not what happened. That's not what this is saying. Like, I'm reading this. I'm telling you, I didn't just read the first time today. Like, I've been processing this. I'm also looking at the fact that I pay attention to people who talk about relationships in the church. Christian singles are struggling here, there, and there. I've been paying attention to this stuff. And me gathering all that information and discerning all this that I'm hearing, I'm not just making this up. It doesn't make sense then. If truly, if it was saying that for men to just search purpose and then just chill way back and the wife would be brought to you. First of all, let me just tell you why biologically that don't make sense. Women naturally aren't pursuers of relationships. They usually set themselves up to be pursued. Most women want to be pursued, but that means they develop their own character, which they are more self-sufficient in doing, right? They put themselves in a position to be pursued, right? That is most comfortable for women, to be pursued, not to be the pursuers of a relationship. That's generally not how it goes in the most natural ways, right? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think we all know that in general, most women are not pursuing relationships. That's what men do. So we're telling men to wait on the woman that's going to be brought to her, even though that's kind of also indicating that a woman is going to the man and just saying hey, I'm here, pursue me. And that's not what women do. They more so set up their countenance, they set up their being, their presence to be in a space where a man sees her and okay, I'm gonna go seek her. But how a man should be seeking her, that is the issue that's not being taught to men. We're teaching men to just pursue God, follow Christ, and then just wait, a wife is gonna be brought to you. Even the guys who said, because there are stories of this where the guy's I wasn't looking for marriage and it came to me. It didn't just came to you, bro. It didn't just come to you. Yeah, you pursued purpose. But when you saw that woman in your place, guaranteed you, brother, still had to go up to her and talk to her. You still had to develop something, right? It's not about seeking the woman first, right? And yes, when you're on a certain path, then certain people are going to be brought into your life. right? There's an excellent book that I read by Dr. Miles Monroe, rest in peace, called Waiting and Dating. Now, despite what I said, the waiting in this section is not contradicting what I'm talking about, because what he's mentioning in waiting, because it's waiting and dating. That means as you're waiting, you're preparing to date, right? You're still pursuing, you're developing yourself. But while you're waiting, it just means don't go forth and rush the process of finding a mate, finding a helper, right? Continue to develop yourself. And for men, that's continue to pursue Christ, to understand how the godly countenance a man should, what he should be living with and should be wearing and should be having over him, how he needs to live, so that when you do look for a helper, you have the right law, you have the right mindset, you already have purpose, and you already have your relationship with God established. See, the law is indicating that that Adam already had a relationship established with God. The relationship was established first and foremost. I'm the supreme God. I'm supreme. Then his work was put in place. All men should be working, finding purpose. Then once you have all these things, God was like, Adam has law and he has work and purpose. He's probably gonna need some help doing all these things, especially if I want him to go forth and multiply. What a helper brings is multiplication, fruitfulness, right? Adam can't be fruitful by himself. So again, the church telling men to just wait, Like, we should not use wait, more so we should establish for men, make sure you have God set first, and then you actually have a purpose, a plan for your life, or just, not even a plan, because planning is here and there, but a purpose, because sometimes your purpose is your plan, right? Your purpose will lay out your path for you, the road will be lit for you, right? I'm not a huge planner of sorts, but when I'm focused on purpose, things just kind of have been going a very natural way, right? But again, that's each to their own when it comes to that. But it's the purpose though, that's the point. The purpose needs to be established. Then you look for help. When I say look, it's not desperate, but you're searching for, you're seeking that, you seek that. Here's the point, etch this into your brain, especially if you're Christian. The point is to practice pursuing Christ so you know how to pursue a wife. Please get that right, y'all. Practice pursuing Christ so you know how to pursue a wife, right? And practice means consistently do it. You never stop doing that. Because when you date and then after you married, you still need to learn how to pursue your wife, because she's changing as you're changing. You don't just get a wife and then you just stop pursuing her. She's changing every day just like you are. Just like your relationship with Christ should be changing in a sense as it should be improving. You have to keep pursuing that every day. You're following Christ every day. You don't get to a point where like, all right, I followed him enough and you just stop. Christ is like, no, I'm still going. Christ is still going. You don't stop. There's still things to be done. There's always things to be done. So I just want to make that quick video, y'all. Like, many of you listening out there, if you're single and you are in the Christian space and you know you have urges to find that wife, just make sure, and I'll try to get more videos out like this, and you like this type of video, let me know, but make sure first and foremost you have law established with God. You have law as your head. That's God's word. God's word is law. And you believe in that law. You have to have a belief in that law, and so you follow that law, right? And make sure before you pursue a wife, you have a purpose. Like you know what that is. Establish that. If you still don't know what your purpose is, don't worry about her right now, because that's the first thing. That is what Adam gave first, or God gave Adam first, was purpose. Was his work, his purpose. So once you know what that is and you feel secure in that, you're like, I found it to the day I die. I have something to die for. Again, that's what his purpose was. Find something that like, I don't get to the day I die. This is my purpose. For me, I'm in a place now where like I'm getting very firm in that. It took a couple years coming back to Christ because I was in the world for a long time. That's a whole other thing for that. But I'm in a place now where I'm getting firmly established in my purpose, where I know I'm being called here to do and how I can help and how build the church, build bridges, all these things, right? So I'm getting firmly established in that, right? And because I came from the world, I had to give my time just to heal. Right? Not learning how to less trust in myself, because my own trust in me was leading me astray. Was learning how to trust in a higher being than me. the one who created me, the creator of all, right? God being all omnipotent, all magnificent, amazing, majestic, all things. Learning that giving your trust in the one who created everything is probably better than you who hasn't created nothing. Right? No offense to myself, but you know. So it's law, then purpose. Once you are established in that, man, then seek your wife. It's okay to want to seek a wife, but have those first two things first. God works in threes. That's three establishments right there. First find law, then find purpose, or establish law with God. Seek your purpose. Be firm in your purpose. Then find you a helper. It's okay to. And if it's not in the church, I'm trying to figure out the church is leading people astray. Like, I'm sorry. I'm going to, like, again, the same church I referenced earlier. Nothing but single people in that church. And maybe I haven't been there long enough to see ministries that they have that actually help people, single people into marriage. I don't know. But I haven't seen it yet. And all I hear is like, they always stop at, don't even look, don't even try, don't even do this. Like, see Christ first. I'm good with that. See Christ first. I'm good with that. But it's like the moment I got there, they're like, if you came here to find a wife and all that stuff, and I get it. Like, if that was your main focus, then yes, you're wrong. But it's never with also the tag of like, if you came here first for that, no, don't do that. But the point is to follow Christ, and eventually you'll get into a healthier space where you can be led to that. After first you establish law and your purpose. This is what I'm missing, and I don't hear enough in the church. After you established a relationship and you are truly following Christ, then yes, finding a helper will be good, because by the time you get to these points and you're established and you're moving in those things, the right people will be brought around you. One last thing I'll say, we have to understand, and this is how people get this wrong, because they saw that Eve was created out of Adam. So yeah, your wife will be brought too. And yeah, she'll be brought in your vicinity. But again, it's not about you just waiting. Adam was looking. We also have to understand Eve had to be created for Adam, because Eve was the first. Like, so in a sense, Eve had to literally be brought and developed from Adam and given to him. But we skip over the vital line. Nothing is said on accident in the Bible. But for Adam, there was not found a helper. So then God had to bring a wife, because Adam was in a space where he needed a helper. The opening of that paragraph, verse 18 says, then God said it's not good for man to be alone. That was the premise of this paragraph. And thus the explanation leading down to verse 20, saying that no helper was found fit for Adam. Found mean there was a seeking. Okay, so let's not skip over that. If you have that desire, don't be afraid to go after it, but just make sure, man, you have wise counsel around you. And you understand that first, you need to have God established as your law. Then you need to be following Christ, who gives you purpose. Then it's okay to seek help. It's okay to seek that helper, because then she won't be your idol. She'll be a necessary helpmate. Not a necessity, but necessary. There is a difference. She won't be a necessity to you. She won't be like a thing, a craving. She won't be a necessity to you. She'll just simply be necessary to further your fruitfulness of the purpose which you already have set in place. I hope I cleared some things up. Let me know what you think. Thanks for being here.